Welcome back. We're going to solve a problem today that most everybody will face. What is that, you might ask? It's pet odors in the house. A lot of times, whether you just moved into a property or you're renovating or whatever the case may be, homeowner, flipper, landlord, you're going to deal with pet odors that went through the carpet into the floor. And we're going to show you how to solve that. Fairly simple. Just going through this house, if you could smell this, yeah, it's unique. It's starting to heat up in the summer. This house is closed for like a year. So you definitely have a lot going on in here. And I ripped up all the carpets, but real common sign is you'll see spotting in the carpet. That lets you know that, something went to the bathroom on top of the carpet. It soaked through the padding and into the floor. I'm going to turn this around so you can see. Okay, so turning this around, all these spots on the floor are where an animal went to the bathroom. And you can see it soaks in pretty good. And unless you get rid of that, every time it gets warmer, you're gonna smell that come out of the floor. So looking at the carpet, I just ripped this up real quick, but you'll see the spots behind it. On top, it's gonna look even worse. And if you have a light color carpet, obviously it's easier to see than a dark color. So you'll see that spot, and then it goes through the padding, which you can see there's a huge spot right there. See how the color change. And then ultimately it just soaks into the floor. Usually you'll see a dark spot like that. So how do we solve this problem? The easiest way is you have to remove the moisture and the smell out of the floor. Now, other than replacing it, two products I use is just Arm & Hammer baking soda. This will actually draw the moisture out of the floor. You'll see it go from white to whatever color that is in the floor. It'll be like a brownish or a dark color over time. And also it will get rid of some of the smell. Ultimately, the best thing to use, this one here is Arm & Hammer Double Duty. And it's actually a really potent version of cat litter. So once you put that onto the floor, it'll draw the moisture out and also deodorize the spot. So it's basically pulling out anything that was a pet urine out of the floor itself. Is it going to get it out completely? No. But once you lay your new floor on top, you no longer smell it. So that's about the best option. I'm just going to show you real quick what I do, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so ultimately what you want to do is make sure all this padding is gone before you put anything down, because it's going to defeat the purpose if it's still there. You just try to get a majority of it up there. You don't have to clean the floor or anything special, because this is going to make a mess anyhow. You want to wear some gloves with this as well. Just kind of spread it around. Put it over top of the spots where you can see all around it. And let it do its magic. Not really magic, all it's going to do is absorb and get rid of those smells for you. Just put them on the spots you see and kind of go from there. Okay, I prefer using this. It costs more, but this is the cheaper option. Doesn't work as great. So all I'm going to do, move the camera over to this other spot. Again, just prep your area. And the reason that padding is all stuck there is obviously because the urine went through and it basically clung to the floor. So with this is a lot finer. And put a lot on because it's going to absorb all that moisture out of the floor. So I'm going to actually let that go, and I'll film this in a day or two, and you'll see how the color changes. It's just going to wick that out of the floor, the moisture and also the smell. You'll notice a significant difference after this is done. So it's really that easy. Like, it's not rocket science, anything like that. Now, depending on how many spots you have in your house, you might go through a decent amount of that. Don't try to milk that and try to reuse it. Once you have it on there and it pulled the smell out, sweep it up, throw it away, get another box. You're better off spending the money to pull that out of the floor than to try putting that on another spot and it doesn't fully get it out of the floor. So like I said, in a day or two, I'll film that again, show you how the color changed. And I don't wish you could smell it, but I wish you could smell the difference. Back here, it's like awful. Like this one room back here, it's like, I don't know. When you walk through here, it's like, it just hits you. Like when I came through like right here, that's a nice lime green room also, gotta love that. So like right through here is probably where the animal spent the most time doing a lot of things. So once you eliminate the odor, everything's that much easier. So hopefully this helped you out. And again, I'm going to add in that last part in a day or two so you can see how it is. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing to the channel. I'll do these little tricks that hopefully will make your life that much easier. And like this here, it's a small price to pay for having your house smell good again. One thing I also wanted to include, see how that nail strip is the brand new color? Anytime you're looking around and you're trying to figure out where pet stains are, see how all of a sudden the nails are all rusted? Obviously you have a spot, but if there wasn't a spot, if you see like rusted nails or miscoloring, you want to rip up that nail strip also, because nail strips are just a dollar or two. So if you're going to put carpet back down, tear all those up. Ideally, if you could rip up the whole floor, you would, but that's going to be way too expensive. So just like right here, you can see something went on here. It's all miscolored, and then it goes back to like a normal color, miscolored, pretty good, miscolored. You can kind of see like, basically in this house, they went everywhere. So I started putting down just a baking powder in here, just so you can see how that's going to work. But just another little tip. That's easy to put down new nail strips. So tear them up, because that's going to get rid of a lot of the smell also. Now, as far as carpets go, I did want to mention too, you can have these cleaned, but if it's soaked the whole way through, that smell is going to stay there underneath. So even though the padding is going to block some of that smell from coming back up through, you're better off ripping it all out, doing this process with the kitty litter or the baking soda, and then putting new carpet and pad back down. But it's just something you got to do, because if you don't, you're going to be smelling this all the time. All right, so I'm going to go back to work here, and then a day or two, like I said, we'll show you the results on the floor. We are back. I gave it a few extra days. I noticed it wasn't absorbing super quick, probably because this house has sat for about a year or two. I'm not really sure because it was a foreclosure. You can already see the stains, and it wasn't wet to the touch or anything like that, but you can smell it. So after about, this is like day 2 or 3, you can see it's starting to wick up everything out of the floor. Kitty litter is hard to see because it's dark in color, but just like near those nail strips for the carpet, you can see how it's wicking all of that out. So that's what you want. Once I sweep all this up and remove the nail strips, then we'll see how it is from there and kind of go from there. So this is probably the least expensive way to handle this. Again, this is not your normal situation that you're probably going to have, but this will definitely work for you. This house has sat so long, it's already in the floor and dried, but there's always some sort of moisture that will come up, especially when the warmer months. Humidity will draw it out, things like that. So if you put the baking soda or the kitty litter, I feel like the kitty litter does a better job. But baking soda, it's very inexpensive. I'll drop some links below for the products I used in this video. And That's the easy way. It's going to wick it out. We're going to see how it smells after this is all done. Right away, I can tell walking into this house. Again, this house has sat for a year or two or whatever it was. Nobody's had the windows open or anything, so there's already stale air in here. I can notice a huge difference just from the pet smell. Once I sweep all this up and remove the tack strips, then we're going to see how this really is. Now, if it's still a problem, we can move on to like phase 2. They make different enzyme cleaners that you spray on. That'll eliminate. But in this situation, this floor is already dry, and we're just pulling that moisture out of pretty much the middle. And even though it's dry to the touch on top, in the center it still might be wet. That's how we're able to get that moisture out from the wood itself. So they also have like Kills products. The number 3 is made for heavy odors and things like that. What we would do in that situation, it seems like odors always rise, so the rooms below will never smell this. So if this did not work to our liking, still had a little smell, before we laid any floor, I would take Kills 3 over this entire floor to trap in any odor left over. I would try an enzyme cleaner first, and then worst case scenario, or just as a preventative, put that Kills 3 over the floor. That's going to trap everything in the floor itself. You'll never smell it after that. So I hope this video has been very helpful for you. I try to do things the least expensive as possible because there are some really expensive products out there. And before you know, you just spend a fortune trying to get rid of something that should be a lot easier. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification below. I'm going to have a lot more videos of just whether it be a very basic thing like this or more in-depth projects I'm doing on different properties. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you soon.